Hey beautiful people, this is Amanda from Wisdom Body, and I want to give you a tool and some specific information to help you so that your nervous system can respond rather than react to these wild and woolly times that we're having at the moment. So I want to give you just a bit of information about how your nervous system works and what is likely to be happening for you in response to these stressful times. And then I'm going to give you a link to this, connected to this video, with a meditation that I'm creating for you. So what I want to talk with you about first is the nervous system, and just a really simple outline of how your nervous system is in charge of helping you to respond to life. And I've drawn this really simple chart to map it out for us. So on here you'll see basically what I want to speak with you about is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic branches of your nervous system. So essentially in your nervous system you have a sympathetic branch of the nervous system that's in charge of getting you up and into action. And in terms of our global, if we would talk about global nervous system or our global state, we're a lot in this sympathetically charged place. There's a lot of getting up and doing, a lot of outwards movements, a lot of onness. So we need this to be able to get out of bed in the morning. We need this to be able to run for the bus. We need our sympathetic branch of the nervous system to respond in an active way. This is the sympathetic branch of the nervous system, is where you'll find your fight and your flight responses. So it's how we move away from threat, or we push or defend our boundaries against threat. So sympathetic is what gets you into action. So then we have another branch of the nervous system that takes you out of that activated state and into rest and digest. So the parasympathetic branch, my teacher used to call it like the parachute that takes you back down again. So you've just responded to whatever's happening in your life. You've taken an action, and now it's time for your body to rest, to come back down into homeostasis, so that you're able to digest your food, you're able to go to sleep when it's time to, you're able to take in nourishment. So these waves of the nervous system, we're constantly, through the day, we're constantly moving through waves of sympathetic and parasympathetic activation. So what I'm wanting to share with you today is that when we're chronically in sympathetic activation, which our culture as a whole is more chronically in sympathetic activation, we can get stuck in stress and overwhelm. We can become kind of more brittle in our responses because we're not getting that nourishing downturn. Yeah. So if this was a healthy resting baseline, so we're starting from something like neutrality, something like comfort and relaxation, and we're moving from there. If we're chronically in sympathetic activation, our baseline is going to become, it's going to go more in a base level of stress. So we might start at very stressed and activated. So if you imagine with me that we're, as a culture, starting at more of a stressed and activated level, when something like a pandemic comes in, we can very quickly go into overwhelm. We can very quickly go into, that's where we see people becoming dissociative. It's where we see people becoming very reactive, going into quite strong fight or flight responses, which you see in the behaviors of extreme hoarding and fighting over toilet paper. All of that stuff, that's the nervous system trying to create safety. Yeah, trying to create what they need so that they can relax and start to rest and digest, and then they have the toilet paper so they can do their resting and digesting. So for our purposes today, I just wanted to outline that healthy movement between sympathetic and parasympathetic. And the tool I'm going to offer you today is something to support you to let your nervous system come down into parasympathetic. So I noticed for myself I've been needing a lot of rest time, a lot of time to just be with nature, a lot of time to really get in my body, really come out of the fear in the field and become present, become very present in that more parasympathetic resting state. So I just want to name something else on that nervous system cycle. So you might find that maybe you go through waves where you're really activated, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, and then you might find that you numb out. So what can happen in the nervous system is that we can become stressed and overwhelmed, then we can quickly move to something like numbness, something like dissociation or shutdown, which is more like a freeze state. And the freeze state is actually incredibly important when there's shock or trauma, because the freeze state, that movement from stress down through parasympathetic and into shutdown, it's kind of like, if you imagine you're an animal and there's stress, it's kind of like you can, oh my God, everything's so much, you can go into a dark cave, all of your system, unnecessary systems shut down, and you can just go into hibernation. And there's something very intelligent about the human ecosystem organism going into hibernation at times of high stress. So again, that's what I'm offering you in this recording that I'm going to attach to this video, is an opportunity to give your system just a short practice of actually going into hibernation. So we're getting this parasympathetic and even down into the dorsal vagal, into the freeze state, simulated freeze, so that your system can just shut out all the stimulation, shut out all of the external information, external stress, so that you can reboot, refresh. And you know, the way I see it is the planet is actually needing us to do that. It's needing a reboot. And the global humanity culture or energy field has an opportunity to go into reboot. So I'd love to hear if this information resonates for you, if you can see some of your own responses in what I've just shared. Where do you see that you're sitting on this response cycle? And if your baseline has been resting up here, how do you feel you could support your nervous system to just come down to healthy resting state? What kind of behaviors or self-care or self-loving things could you bring into your days? Whether you're continuing to work as one of the essential services, or whether you have some enforced downtime, what can you do to support your nervous system to take the break that it might really be needing right now? So I'm sending you so much love. Please utilize the resource that I'm going to give you, the free meditation, and I look forward to talking to you soon.